Welcome back. It's another Saturday, and we got a pile of parts to install today. So I just got back from the powder coater, same guy that does my ceramic coating, and he had everything done for me. So I'm gonna run you through everything you see here. This is the timing or spark plug, the coil-on plug cover, which is gonna go super well with my gloss black valve cover, which is on its way right now. It should be here in a couple days. You'll see it by the end of this episode for sure. Top hats for the suspension. This was a little extra, but these are all wrinkle black. Ceramic coated the pipe that goes underneath the transmission, my downpipe, the hot side of my turbo, and also, I already installed it because I was impatient, the manifold. So it's all ceramic coated. It's all ready to bolt up. You guys didn't see this. I made this a little bit ago, like a week ago. So since I moved my radiator, my original shroud doesn't fit. So I drew one up, and this fits now. It's a little shorter, and I also had that powder coated as well. This is wrinkle black, or sand black as he calls it, and then also the coolant pipe that you guys saw us build 2 episodes ago got powder coated black. And then I had to modify the catch can because of my Wilwood 1-inch master, so I lopped the corner off and re-welded some pieces on that, so I had to get that recoated, as well as some other catch cans and intakes that I sold to other people. So what we're gonna do today, I got a later start than I think I really wanted to. My plan for today is to wrap my downpipe. So I'm gonna heat wrap this section all the way to here. I'm gonna also heat wrap this guy kind of right till about here. You guys should know by now, the name of the game is heat protection in this car. So I have some DEI heat wrap. I used to buy like whatever the cheap Amazon stuff was. Not anymore. So DEI heat wrap is here. PTP turbo blanket for the hot side. And obviously everything in the engine bay is wrapped as well. I can't wrap the header or the manifold because it's just so small. You're not going to get anything on it. So it's also so small, so hopefully there's not a whole lot of heat issues coming out of there. I'm not too worried about it. As long as all the exposed parts get heat wrapped, we should be good. So I'm gonna start with I'm gonna get some easy things out of the way. I'm gonna throw the catch can in, bolt that up, put my suspension together, bolt that up in the car, and also wrap the header today. That's my goal. Or wrap the downpipe today is my goal. I got Dylan, everybody's other favorite YouTuber, is coming over in a couple hours for just some back and forth. So he'll be here. I want to try and get this wrapped up, literally wrapped before he gets here. And best case, I can install the turbo today, and then we'll see. See how far we get. Either way, by tomorrow, it's all going to be installed. And by the end of this episode, I'm hoping that we can start the car. That is like my end goal. I want to tune it. I want to get on the dyno a week from today, which would be the day you're watching this episode. I'm hopefully dynoing it. Check us out on Instagram. I will post there if we are, and I'll be posting videos all day if we are dynoing it. So we'll see. I got a lot of things to do for this to get that ready to go, but that is my goal. So let's get to work. Let's throw the catch can in and start building chocks. Okay, all 4 corners are in, as seen by my grubby hands. These are new lock nuts, and it took me a minute to get them tight because I had to slip a tiny little wrench over the top here, but the impact didn't work that time. So everything is in, all four corners, the nice powder coated top hats with the V8 Roadster's Brakemaster brace, our catch can for the K-swaps. This side's all done, both rear corners are done. So the next thing I'm gonna do is put the turbo in. It might need some clocking. Obviously it was clocked perfectly, then I took it apart to get the rear half ceramic coated. So I'm gonna put that in, and I'm gonna wrap the downpipe. Actually, I'll probably put that in, put the downpipe and the cross pipe in just to see where everything lines up, and then do the clocking and take the turbo and the downpipe back out and put their blankets over top. So this is the part where I'm gonna get messy because I gotta go under the car, which in the shop, I'll just be able to lift the car up, which would be so nice. But for now, we're gonna go into the car, bolt that crossover pipe up, and then we'll do the rest from up top. Turbo's on, and it fits. Everything's good, everything's tight. Well, nothing is tight, sorry, but everything is lined up and actually not tight, which is a good thing, so I can still tighten it down. I did lock, as you saw, these two top housing nuts. This is tight, so the turbo is clocked right now. So I'm gonna take this off, pop the turbo out, and pop the downpipe out, and then I can put the turbo blanket on here and wrap the downpipe, and I'll show you guys how we do that. So wrapping something like this is very easy, so I'm just going to give a quick run through of how I do it. Well, before we do that, here's the turbo wrapped, hot side with the blanket. I might need to fiddle with it a little when it's on the car, but shouldn't be a problem. So, step one, I always put my heat wrap in water. There's two sides to this argument. Some people say it makes it corrode faster, the pipe. I typically don't care because I'm not going to... There's a chance in 2-3 years that I just remake this downpipe or whatever, but if it does corrode, I can literally make my own again. So I put it in there, and then as it dries, it shrinks, and you get a really nice tight wrap around whatever you're trying to wrap, and it looks really good when it's done. So I start on the end that is most visible, because that's where you can do nice, clean wraps, and you can hide the frayed ends. I use two of these, which are metal zip ties. You can get these at Home Depot. Don't buy them online because you'll get screwed over, or buy them on Amazon and buy... They're for electrical stuff, I guess. I get them at Home Depot. You can buy them in packs of 100 for like super cheap, and they're the same exact thing as you would buy for like $10 for a pack of 10 at, you know, some sort of specialty store or car parts store. So I use this. You can tighten it with like a pair of pliers, but I have the tool because I do this too often. I bought this on Amazon, put the link below. You feed the wire in here, and this crimps and pulls it. And then when you're ready, you push this lever up when it's under tension, and it cuts the line really clean. So I start at the side that I care the most about, which is going to be up top here, because that's what's visible. And then I'm going to work my way down. This is going to be kind of ugly, but you won't see it. So work my way down. These I typically cut out. It looks a little weird, but it works. Cut them out, wrap through. You want to make sure you cover the whole thing. And then obviously I'll finish down here. So I'll show you guys the process on that. This shouldn't take more than probably 10 minutes to wrap. Maybe one day I'll do a how-to on a header, like a 4-to-1 or 4-to-2-to-1, but maybe down the road. So set you up. You can watch how I do this. Leave a comment down below if you have a better method. I'd love to hear it. So. So that's the quick and dirty on how to wrap a header. I'll do a full, I guess it's a downpipe, but I'll do a full one when I wrap somebody who's not sadly boosted. I'll wrap their header. I'll show you guys how to do it. Distractingly, these two have shown up and brought the famed ruby red Kolsch. If you're a upstate New Yorker and you know what this is. So I threw the downpipe on. Ah, damn it, not the right size. I threw the downpipe on and the turbo back on. So here's the PTP Works blanket. And here's the still soaking wet downpipe. Everything's hooked up, and now I'm going to hook up all of the water lines and everything, put the intake on, and kind of just button this whole setup up while these two drink beer and haggle me. So I'll put you up in the corner, we'll time lapse it, and I'll pick you up when we're done. So it's in, it's a tight fit. We had to take it apart a couple times to get certain bolts in. There's like a order of operations to put the whole thing together now that I know it. But everything has clearance. Coolant hose is on. The only thing I'm missing is the rear coolant hose. I'm gonna get some hose clamps to replace these because it looks tacky. But there's space for everything. We'll have to modify this a little bit, shorten it up. Tomorrow I'm probably gonna run these vacuum lines to where they have to go. And really there's not a whole lot left on this list. This I'll do tomorrow. This guy and this guy I need the valve cover for on Wednesday. This I can do tomorrow. I can change, well I can't, sorry. I'm waiting on new oil, but I can drain the oil tomorrow. And then really, not a whole lot left. I'm excited, but I'm nervous. So we'll see. But it looks sick, it looks so good. Let's get you some sweet engine bay shots. But yeah, I'll probably pick you guys up tomorrow, depending what I'm doing. And then after that, we're just going to wait. And the next time you'll see me is when the valve cover shows up, which is right now slated for Wednesday. So hopefully, Wednesday or Thursday, we'll start the car. I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully. Anxious, but excited. So, till tomorrow. We're back on a Sunday, and we're going to knock out really the last couple small things that I can do today. My oil showed up a day early, so I'm going to drain the oil and refill it so that once my valve cover gets here, we can prime it. I routed the 4-port boost controller as well as the recirculation valve, and I had to watch some videos on how to do it correctly. I'm not familiar with the 4-port style, so I'm going to run through that with you guys real quick now so that if anybody needs to do this in the future and you watch this video, you'll understand it. So 4-port is different than a 3-port in the sense that with a 4-port boost controller, if I have a 3-pound spring, this will divert the boost pressure back into the wastegate to keep it shut, so I can run more than 2x the spring pressure. So on a 3-port, if you have a 3-pound spring, you can only run 6 pounds. On a 4-port, I could be off, but if you have a 3-pound spring, I believe you can run 4 times as much, if not 3 times as much. So if I have a 3-pound spring, I can run either 12 pounds, but it might just be 9, but I can run more than 2x the spring pressure, which is all that matters here, because I want 325 for street and 400 on the switch. So I want to be able to control and get low enough, because this is not going to take a lot of boost to get to 325 wheels. So I have a 7-pound spring in there right now. I ordered a 3 and a 5. And then I have also a 7-pound outside spring, so I can do any combination of 3, 5, 7, 10, 12, 14 pounds. One of those will get me very close to 325. And then obviously with the 4-port, I can control it up from there. So let's run you through it. So with a 4-port, you run a 2-port wastegate actuator. This is the IWG 75 from TurboSmart. This one is EFR specific. So it goes, the top port, which is your A port, runs to the top of your wastegate actuator. B port, which is the bottom, runs to your lower side of your wastegate actuator. They give you 2 ports, you only use one. This over here is labeled as in. That runs from your either charge piping or from your turbo. So this comes with the EFR. I just use this, ran it over into here, and then the 4th port, because it's a 4-port controller, is just the vent. So if you're just running wastegate, it would just vent the pressure out of there because it doesn't care. So I have a boost gauge in the car that you guys saw me install like 12 episodes ago at this point. I teed off the turbo feed line into the 4-port and ran this line up into my boost controller sensor, which is right here, which then runs back to the gauge. So this is all plumbed, this is ready. So this is obviously the line that will see all the boosts, so it will show on that gauge. That might be, I might have to move that around, but worst case I have a spare vacuum port on the charge pipe over there that I can switch around if need be. So the other part of this setup is the recirculation valve. This style is very, very EFR specific. So it's built in, you know, it's not an external blow off valve like Cam has on his car or like you see on like every Focus ST ever. When I let off, this thing isn't gonna like psh as much as a blow off valve. This is recirc. It pumps the air right back in front of the turbine housing. It allows for faster spooling. It's a little less annoying, even though I love the sound of a blow off. But the recirc valve needs to know when to open and close. So in order to do that, you need to run a reference line that has to be post throttle body, which if any of you guys have this K series manifold, it's a really nice piece, but it doesn't have any vacuum ports outside of like the brake booster and idle air control. So what I did, you can see I ran this up through here, just for now, sneakily around the back. And then I went to AutoZone and they had, I have one on the bench, I'll show you. This is like an any size fits T. So I ran, this is my brake master reference line. The check valve is here, so I am still technically pulling 100% manifold air. And then this is where I'm going to tee off for the reference line for recirc. So this looks like this guy. So it's a Dorman 47349, and it has all a bunch of like step up pieces. It goes quarter, 5/16, 3/8, and you can just cut it where you need it. Otherwise I was gonna have to like drill and tap my manifold, and I wouldn't want to do that with it on the car, so I'd have to take all this stuff off, and I'm not about to do that. So this is a nice clean setup, works really well. I'm happy with it. Like I said, I took the wastegate apart. It comes 14 pounds from the factory, which in this 14 pounds I think puts me at like 450 wheel, so that's a lot. So there's 2 springs, there's an inner and an outer. You can do any combination. I took the outer spring out. They're both 7 pounds, so now it's just a 7-pound wastegate. Hopefully that's enough. I'm going to leave that, and I'm just going to bring the extra springs with me. And the nice thing about this, as compared to the one that comes with it from the factory, like this guy, I can't change this out. This is stuck at, I believe, 12 pounds. Doesn't say on it. But I can't change that at all. So this one I can change, you know, if we're there and 7 pounds is 380 horsepower, which would be nuts. I can take the spring out and put the 5 or the 3 in, and then the boost controller will do the rest. It's finally here. I don't have a whole lot of time right now because I have a haircut that I gotta leave for in 20 minutes, but I'm gonna throw this on the car and show you guys what it looks like. I already put it on without any gaskets on it or anything, and it looks so good. So, enough talk. You guys don't care about my face. Here's the old one, the one that I had on as a placeholder, and here is the new one. It is high gloss And this is actually like machined, engraved into the valve cover. We've got the AN ports on it. I've already installed this cover plate, the whatever you want to call it. This plate that goes on the bottom, I had tapped all these holes for M5s, so I just red Loctited, gasketed, sealed it, put these gaskets in. There's a gasket on here already, and then all I have left to do is to put some sealant right on these half moons back here, where no valve cover ever seals without gasket sealant. So I'm gonna do that real quick. I'll set you guys up, and I'll throw the valve cover on, put the oil cap and the dipstick and all that stuff in so you guys can see the finished product. This will also go with this guy right on top, like that, to seal the whole thing off, and that'll look sick. So sick. This must be what it feels like, to quote my buddy Derek, this must be what it feels like to buy the right parts. I've never had this many clean parts between the brand new turbo, all the nice intercooler stuff, the pretty valve cover, everything. So enough, I don't have a lot of time. Let's get this thing thrown on the car so it can cure up while I'm gone. And then when I come back from my haircut, we're gonna try and start this thing. All right, catch can is valve cover is installed. I just got back from my haircut. You can see by this beautiful beard. And I ran the catch can line, so I finished these up. This is a 90 AN, 45 AN, both 10 AN lines. And they run together with these nice couplers. I got two of them, one down here, one into that spot in the catch can, and one into that guy. Drain is on, feed from the PCV is on. Everything is plugged in and ready. I took all the spark plugs out, and then this time, if you guys watched a year ago, the first time we cranked it over to build oil pressure, I left the these guys, spark plug, igniters, coil-on plugs, I left them in the holes without spark plugs, so when we tried to crank it over, it popped them all out and it freaked me out. So this time I took them all out, so we're not gonna do that again. And I've unplugged the fuel injectors so that we don't pump a bunch of gas into the motor while we're just trying to build oil pressure. What we're gonna do to do that is just to verify, we're gonna pop the oil feed off. It's actually loose right now, so we'll pop it off. And then I'm gonna have my wife come out here and hang on to the oil feed and like put it in the solo cup, and I'm gonna crank the motor over until oil pressure builds enough to come out of the top of that. Once it does that, we'll hook it up for the final time and we'll crank it over a couple more times just to push some pressure into the turbo. I did feed I pre-filled the turbo like you're supposed to. If you have ever bought an EFR, it comes with this little yellow card, and it says to fill the top port until it's overflowing before you start it, and let it idle for a minute once it does start. So I did that, but just to be sure, we're gonna crank it over until it builds oil pressure, and then crank oil pressure into the turbo. I don't wanna start this thing dry. So we're gonna do that now, and then I will put the plugs in, hook all the wires up, load the new tune, which is really a base map for turbo setup, and hopefully try to start it. So maybe in the next hour, I'm literally like shaking because I'm so nervous that something's not going to go right. Last year everything went well after we figured the immobilizer issue out, and really I think I've done enough this year to make sure that everything is done right. But everybody forgets something, whether it's a loose hose or anything like that. Hopefully it's nothing on the turbo side because those are all really hard to get to. But for now, we're going to prime the oil setup, and then we'll wrap everything up so we can hopefully start it here in a couple minutes by the end of this episode.
One eternity later.
Okay.
You're gonna have to excuse me, the garage door's open again, because we're getting ready to start it, and it's really nice outside today. So, oil pressure came out of here. I don't know if you guys could see it. There's really only so many good places for a camera in here while you're working. So, oil pressure came out of here. I hooked it up to the turbo, tightened it down, cranked it again for like another 15 seconds. Oil pressure on the dash showed like 28 PSI. Everything else works, all the other gauges, oil temp, pressure, all that stuff, everything's good. No leaks that I can find. I gotta check the drain. No, drain looks good. It's kind of weird because the other day when I pre-filled the turbo, I definitely spilled some oil, but that's what I feel on my finger. There's no new oil. There's no puddles of oil or anything under the car. Everything seems good. So yeah, I'm gonna go. I'll put the plugs in, all that stuff right now, and then I'll grab the laptop and load the new tune, and hopefully we start it. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I am shaking. I feel like, I don't know, everything has come to this moment, and I'd want to say excited, but I'm so nervous that I have screwed something up. Those of you guys that have done this, I think you know the position I'm in. So let's put it back together and hopefully settle some nerves within like half an hour here. It's running. It wouldn't start and I couldn't figure it out, and it turns out my battery was just way too dead. But it is idling at 14.7. I upgraded injector size. We have plenty of oil pressure. I started on the tune from last year. It's short-term fuel term is really not happy, but it runs. Nothing seems to leak. Obviously I'm gonna have to bleed the coolant, but we're gonna let it run for a while, let some oil get through here. This is gonna smoke really bad, but other than that, we're here, boys. Boost season. I'm so hyped. Oh my god, that's such a relief. One for the boys, real quick. Not happy, but we'll get it tuned. It'll run right. Smoking like a banshee back here. Probably because it's been sitting all year. And the throttle's stuck, I think. Throttle gets stuck still, but we're here. We are out here, idling. So stoked. Pick you guys back up. Actually, that'll probably be the end of this episode, because the car runs and I'm not gonna do much more with it until it gets to the dyno. So yeah, I will see you guys next Saturday. You know the deal. Like, comment, subscribe, stay tuned for this thing hopefully making 400 horsepower. I'm sure there's little tweaks I'm gonna do to it today and tomorrow and Friday, but it's idling smooth. So see you guys next week. If you want to see ahead of time how this does on the dyno, Instagram, you'll see them in a second. Follow either one, we'll post on both. See you guys.